Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome, Shivani and Aryan and Ishan. Welcome you all. Hare Krishna. I hope everyone doing well. And it was a great kirtan going live at the temple. It's always a pleasure. Even if we can't travel, we are always there. I will share the link here for everyone in the chat and on YouTube. If anyone would like to get, you can subscribe to the channel, which is Bhaktivedanta Manor Live, and it will remind you whenever the Aarti is happening. And Aartis happen early in the morning. So even if we can't travel every day to the temple, considering we are in South London, but every day we connect to the temple through this link on YouTube. I think they are on Facebook as well, but I'm not very active on Facebook. On YouTube, I connect to the temple in the morning, and before kids, they go to school, they always have darshan of the deities every day. In the morning, Mangala Aarti is there, and later, what we call Guru Puja is also there. Then there is a lecture. So usually it starts just before 8, 5 minutes to 8, the lecture starts. And then usually for an hour, 8 to 9, if you think. And it's great. It's great. The darshan itself, they are so good every morning. Hare Krishna. And good to see you, Adi. Shivani was just reminding me, oh, you're about to start the session, but Adi is not here yet. It's so good that Adi is here. I think we have changed the link as well. So that also makes, so that's the reason I sent the link, I think, individually as well. Krishna Chaitanya's mom, I'm not sure if I've sent it. Well, Divesh and Divika, I hope they had the link. But yeah, I need to reach to all the parents individually, those who haven't recently. So hope to get those who used to attend back, because I know we have changed the link. So hopefully this link will stay forever. Nothing is forever. This is material world. Hare Krishna. Let's get started. And let me just share the presentation. So what we're planning to do is chapter 3 of Bhagavad-Gītā, which is great. So if we come out, then I share the screen. So hopefully everyone can see the screen now. So this is all based on the teachings we got from Srila Prabhupada Ji. This particular presentation, we got it from what we call Mathura Desh. Mathura Desh is, the name is itself says Mathura, but this is actually a new name given to Muscat. The way Srila Prabhupada Ji did, and that's the reason in India, in the olden days, old is gold, as it says, in the olden days, the Vedic culture was so prominent that all the kids, they used to have the name, very spiritual name of demigods. Like my karmic name is Varun, which is the demigod of deity, we call it, of water. Similarly, another good friend of mine, his name is Pavan, and that reminds you of Hanumanji. Well, Hanumanji's father is, because Hanumanji is always addressed as Pavan Putra. Putra is for the sun, so the son of Pavan, and the wind god or the demigod. Similarly, a lot, for example, if you are from South India, then Murugan is the name for Lord Shiva's son. And there's a Puran called Skanda Puran. So Skand is another name given to Murugan. So, or we call him Kartik as well. And there's a reason why all these different names given to the same person. For example, we have Shivji. but we also call Shivji Sadashiv. We also call him Rudra, and sometimes the very first Adi Purush. So there are reasons why one personality got different names and great teachings. So this presentation was done by the devotees of Mathura Desh from Muscat. So Srila Prabhupada ji changed the name. So for example, Dubai is Damodar Desh. Now the reason I was saying that in the olden days, parents used to have the names of the kids on spiritually. So every time you take the name of the Lord, then it will remind you. It will remind you that you're supposed to be spiritual rather than material. It will always keep reminding you. Hare Krishna. So let's go into chapter 3, which is based on Karma Yoga. The different scenarios. This is one of the brilliant one because it's all in action. So Srila Prabhupada always said that it's our spirituality is not just for armchairs. We need to go out and do things, and Karma Yoga is doing things. And if you think about, there are many different ways we can. So let's go and do the Mangala Charan, and then we shall resume back on chapter 3. Ajnanatimirandasya Jnana-Jana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yudapad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Advaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Shri Vishakam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanu Sute Parmami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshikarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev Maharaj ki jai, Samved Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Jai Shri Radhesha. It's such a pleasure to start all the sessions with Mangala Charan, taking the blessings from Guru Maharaj, from Srila Prabhupada, from the previous acharyas, the whole Guru Parampara, from Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji, Radharani, all the Vaishnavas, and the Panch Tattva, as we call. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji, Nityananda, who is the second one, and then Shri Advaita, so Advaita Acharya is the third, Gadadhara is another one, fourth one, and then Shri Vasadi is the fifth one. So this is what we call Panch Tattva. So five, they come together, and then Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, like all the devotees. So Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So this is the mantra for Panchatattva. So all those five great leaders, if I will say, and maybe we will do a special session just on them. It's worth going through, especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji himself, each and every one of those. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji was the leader, or is this still the leader, even though we can't see. So chapter 3. So in summary, we said gratitude is the attitude of gentlemen. We started that. We looked around what we can do, how we can do the karma, and today again we are going to have it. It's always good to understand how and what's the importance behind it. So gratitude, why gratitude is important, especially in the action. We went through this story where Krishna, this is what we call that Krishna reciprocated, and because she offered something to Krishna, and she didn't have anything in return expected that Krishna will give, because Krishna was a little baby. But then it's the way Krishna works. So Krishna always give things to devotees. Hare Krishna. So that's the verse 16. Then the 21st verse of chapter 3, leaders lead by an example. So those who have reached to that level of karma yoga, what do? So for example, let's say, if I give the examples of previous, I can refer to them as acharyas, they are different names, but let's say Adi Shankaracharya, let's say Gautam Buddha, let's say Lord Rama. What did they do? They led by example. Whatever they taught, they followed it, and people around them got inspired by them and followed them. So it's not that they, let's take the more closer example of Swami Vivekananda, Paramahansa Yogananda. These are those, and they are, of course, Srila Prabhupada ji is there. These leaders, spiritual guides, they, whatever they teach, they always follow their own instructions, right? And others, they just get so inspired by them. And this is what we call that leaders lead by example, and that's the reason we follow. And that's why a lot of times we share the anecdotes are small stories or the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada ji, so we all can get inspired. Then learn the skill before you kill. So this is just a rhyming thing, but when we will get to it, we will see what skill we need to. But this is all karma yoga. Karma is action. So everything we do is all about action here. But of course, how action could get into the devotional service, that's the thing we need to. But otherwise, this action will not work very nicely and very wisely. A story comes into my mind, which I will share in a bit. But the last category, learn not to burn. Like if we have learned some skill, then we need to employ those skills for good, very good use, not the bad use. Now you might be thinking, how you can make bad use of something. Think about it. So the guy who invented, if I say invented, it's hard to say there, because there could be many different claims. The world is big, and world was not so much connected, let's say 50 years back. So somebody who said, I have invented nuclear weapon in one part of the world, then maybe the other part of the world, they were still doing it. They might have done it before it. So it's very hard. Sometimes historians, those who write history, they get confused who is the first one, but they always pick one name. So for example, Wright brothers, they are famous for inventing the aeroplane, the aircraft. But then in India, somebody also did it. And then similarly in the maths, there are many theorems. Somebody in America or England or Europe invented it, but similar timing, somebody in India invented it. Some were there in Arabic world as well. So it's hard sometimes that who should claim it. But let's say whoever invented, and there was one particular guy who was in Berkshire, in America, in Berkshire University. He was a professor. He invented the atom bomb. An atom bomb was used in World War II from America to bomb Japan. And in Japanese two city, they were bombed very badly. It says it's just been like it's been 1940. So imagine it's been 80 years roughly, and still it says people in those regions, they are affected by those bombs which were dropped 80 years back. So those actions were bad. But what happened? This guy, because he had invented, and so American Air Force used his bomb to drop in Japan. And what he requested, he said, I would like to be in that aircraft, the aircraft which will drop that bomb on Japan. Why? Because he wanted to see, he wanted to witness the destruction his invention will bring. Now, this is very negative if you think. That's why it says, learn not to burn. Like, don't learn the skills because you want to burn others, you want to kill others, you want to harm others, right? Learn to help others. This is one of those things in action in karma yoga. That karma is action, but just don't do the action without thinking. And I will give you another story. Now, this is a story I've just shared, or the experience in the past might not be very nice to think about, but the other one I will share, this might be nice. So there were two people and they were walking, and they stopped at one place and they were doing something, and somebody else was walking nearby, and that person observed these two people, what they were doing. So there was a road, and on the road, these two people, so the first one, what he did, he was digging a hole. Sorry, I'm not that great, but he was digging a hole, right? When you dig hole, what you do, you take the sand out, you take the concrete out, you take the soil out, whatever it is, you're digging the hole, you bring things out. And then there was another guy, right? And what he was doing, he was putting these things back. So first person was taking it out, second person was putting it out, putting it back in. So imagine the first person was digging the hole, the second person was filling the hole, right? Imagine this. If you will notice what will happen, I will go crazy. I will say, what are you doing? Where you utilizing all the money which council has, the government here in UK. So what happens? The other person who was across the road, he comes around and he asks these two, excuse me, what are you doing? Has any one of you heard this story? What happens next? Why these two people were doing that?
I think I know.
Oh, please, Adi, go for it.
Well, one person was sick, so they thought that instead of doing the job, they will do their job and not the other person's job.
Very nice. Well done, Adi. Yes. So these two said that, well, we are just doing our job. And the other guy got confused. Well, what is your job? He said, well, usually we are three people. The first one digs the hole, and the second one put the seed inside, right? So in future, the tree will come out, or the plants will come out. And the third one, of course, put the soil back, because the seed is inside now. And now you understand, first one digs it, second one put the seed, third one put the sand back. But now the second person is sick. And these two, they just came and they said, okay, the second person is not there, doesn't really matter. We will go and we will do our job as efficiently as we could. Now, they were also doing karma. They were also doing action. But is it of any use? No. Why? Because they are going to do hard work, but it's of no use, right? So whenever we do things, we do need to think. So we don't want to do negative like the first guy who said, I want to go there when you will drop the bomb, and not like the second scenario where these two are just doing things without thinking why they are doing or what the benefit going to be, right? What do we want to do? We want to do things effectively. We want to understand properly before we will move on, right? So that's what we need to understand, right? So this is of course going on between Krishna and Arjun. So Krishna said to Arjun that, well, in chapter 2, you have already explained to me that I should renounce. So should I renounce? Should I go away from this war? Remember, where the Bhagavad-Gītā is happening, in the battlefield. Arjun is ready, but for some reason, and Arjun had all the weapons, but Arjun could not fight. And then Arjun is asking Krishna, and of course, what we know that Arjun did fight. So what did Krishna said? What did Krishna say? How Krishna explained things? Because Krishna didn't say, Arjun, you should fight. What Krishna said, after explaining everything, Krishna said at the end, did you understand? I leave the decision on to you. Would you like to fight now? And Krishna, of course, Arjun said, Krishna, I surrender on to you. I would like to fight. And now I understand why I should fight. So, of course, for us, it's not the fight. It's whatever we are doing. If I'm doing a job, I should do the job of best of my capability. If I'm studying, if I'm a student, I should study. If I'm in sports, I should go very well in the sports, right? So whatever we do, we need to be best. And this is what it is. We need to involve ourselves in action. But again, with wisdom, not just for the sake of it, not for the sake of harming someone, not for the sake of just doing action, thinking before we do something. So first few verses, renunciation, like leaving everything and become a mendicant, like this sadhu. And of course, we always respect sadhus. But if you think, should everyone leave and go on the mountain top to do meditation, or should we do the action? And of course, as we know, Arjun did do the action. He didn't leave the battlefield. So maybe Krishna said something which is very relevant for us, right? And then, well, of course it is relevant. Then the yoga ladder, that not everyone is at the same place. If you think about it, you have 30 students or 20 students in your class. Same teacher teaches you the same thing in the same classroom. Everyone listens, but what happens? When the exam happens, some people, they get 90%, some people, they just get maybe 50 or 60%. What is the difference? Because not everyone understands same thing, right? And again, we can think of it. One person might say something, the same instruction, and when two people hear it, they might understand it completely different based on their own previous experience. For example, and this is a funny example, I think. So if you would go to India, if you compare the driving in India and in, let's say, in Delhi in India and in London in UK. So in London, if there is a car coming at from the front and you are driving towards it and there's not enough space for both of them, one of the cars would have to stop. Now what happens? Whoever would like to stop will flash the light. And when somebody will see that flash, the person will understand, okay, that person has flashed the light. That means he is or she is, that driver is waiting and I need to go, right? But in India, in Delhi, opposite happens. The driver who flashes is actually saying, you better wait because I'm coming. And here in London, flash means I'm waiting, you should come. Now, I always imagine what happens if somebody from India will come here and flash here. So let's say the Indian driver is in London and flashing. So basically he's flashing thinking, okay, I'm going to go. And the other person is thinking, the person who drives in London, that, oh, he has flashed, so I should go. And they both will go because of their understanding. And you can't even say this is misunderstanding, but their own understanding contradicts. And the same thing, if maybe this person, the person in London, the London driver will go to Delhi and will flash. And he's flashing thinking that, oh, you should come. And the other person will think, the Delhi driver will think, oh, the other driver has flashed, which means I should wait. And both of them will be waiting. And they both of them will be thinking, why the other driver is not coming? Maybe the other person will keep flashing and the other person will keep waiting. So this is the way we understand, different people understand differently. And that's the reason we say there is a ladder, and we'll see the different rungs of the ladder. So different stages. So spiritually, we all are different, right? So wherever we are, we need to understand. And then from where we are, we always need to step up to the next level. And that's why the yoga ladder is given. Because remember, in Bhagavad-Gītā, yoga is, so the term yoga is the combination of two. Now you can say material to spiritual, or from living entity to the Lord. We want to all get progressed slowly, gradually in the spirituality, right? We need to realize the purpose of our life based on wherever we are, right? And there are different yogas given, different marga, different routes given. And one is karma yoga, what we are discussing. One is jnana yoga. One is karma kanda. One is ashtanga yoga. And the best one, Krishna says, is bhakti yoga, devotional service. So we will see. But then somebody who has reached to that level, who has reached to the top, you will say, what will happen if you will reach to the top? Well, if you will reach to the top, then as we were discussing, you will lead. You will become the leader. You will lead and others will follow you. For example, Srila Prabhupada Ji, he became such a great leader. And wherever he went, he opened the temples and he taught everyone what to do, and everyone follows him, right? And then conquering the enemy. Now, who is the enemy? Remember, Krishna said the other army is the enemy. But for us, who is the enemy? Well, there are many enemies we have, and some of the enemies could be, remember, you might remember, when you get angry, or when you get cranky, when you get when you desire something so strong, if that desire doesn't get fulfilled, you start fighting, you start crying, and maybe you get jealous, you get envy. All those are our enemies, right? In Sanskrit, we call kama. So when we'll reach to that, we'll see. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha. These are the four basic one, and there are four more who are like the offshoots of these four. But basically what we are saying, the desire to have something, or desire not to give something which you already have. So it's the desire which is the cause of everything. And how to conquer that through karma yoga is what we are going to learn here. Right. Okay, great. If there's any question at any point, please stop me and we shall discuss. All right. So this is what we did discuss last time. And we said, oh, yes. So anyone remember the name of the sage? I said. Oh, Shivani is looking at it. Shivani is thinking, oh, I think I know. Or maybe from the picture you wouldn't recognize, because this picture is just a cartoon, just the animation. But this story, if you remember, Shivani is raising hand. Yes, Shivani, do you remember?
I don't know. Is it? I know what's happening. I know who's liberated. Can I tell who's liberated?
Okay, sure.
The picture on the right is liberated because they're doing different stuff, but they're thinking of Krishna.
Very
but
nice.
That person is doing meditation, but thinking like there's this like woman, yes, and she's wondering if he should dance with her. Or and then there are two of him. Like one of him is thinking, "Oh no, I shouldn't do this," and then the other one's thinking, "I should dance."
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much for such a story, Shivani. And yes, and there are many examples. So this is not just a hypothetical, like we have just thought through. This has happened in the past. So, and there's a mention in the scripture. So Saurabh, not Saurabh, it's in Sanskrit, Saurabhi is one of the sages. He was doing meditation underwater for many, many years. Imagine, for many, those days, sages, they had the power. They could do meditation underwater, on the air, on the tree, and they might not even eat for so long. And so he was one of those. After a while, he thought, I should get married. And Vishwamitra is the one, if you think in the picture, of course, this is just the animation. But if you think, this is Vishwamitra, and he just wanted to get liberated. He didn't want anything. But Indra, he always gets very, very anxious whenever somebody is doing meditation, such a strong meditation, because usually there was a time, even now, I guess some people, they would like people, humans, they know that there are trouble, there are miseries in this world. So what do? Humans, they like to go to heaven, right? And in the past, if you would do great meditation, then Brahmaji might come, and Brahmaji will ask you, what do you want? And whatever you will ask, Brahmaji will give. Hiranyakashipu was one example. There are many, many. Ravan was another one. Many demons who did that, and many sages, they also did it. So Vishwamitra, he didn't want anything as such, but he wanted to get liberated. He wanted what Jnani, like renunciates, they have it, like powers and all. So because he had a fight, he was actually a king. Vishwamitra was a king, and he had a fight with a sage called Vashishta. And he was defeated. He was a king, he had the whole army, and himself, he was defeated by a sage called Vashishta. And that day he realized the power of a sage. And he said, my kingdom is useless. My soldiers are useless. I don't have any power. The sages, they have the real power. So I will go and I will get those powers. How did Vashishta got the power? By meditation. So I'm going to do meditation. So he was doing the meditation. But Indra, the leader of demigods, he thought, oh man, this guy is going to do meditation. And like before, many sages, many demons, they did the meditation. Brahmaji will come and he will say, oh, I want to become the leader of heaven. And heaven is my home. These guys, they will kick me out. And many, like Hiranyakashipu, he did it. And Ravan also did it. There are many other demons, they also kicked Indra out from Indravati, or the place he lives, or we call usually heaven. So he was very anxious. So what he did, he had the best dancer, and her name was Menka. So he sent Menka to Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was doing the dancing. Oh, sorry, Vishwamitra was doing the meditation, and Menka came around and started dancing around. Menka wanted to disturb, because obviously if somebody is like, when you are doing studies for your exams, right? And your sibling, your cousin, or somebody will come and start having partying around you, maybe start playing around you, maybe have a loud music around you, maybe say, oh, leave, we will go out and play. These all are distractions. We should not get distracted. And Vishwamitra was a great king, and he was a great sage by then as well. But he tried controlling him for a while. And Menka was actually tired, and she wanted to go back, saying to Indra that, sorry, I tried my best, but I could not. But she knew if she will go back, Indra will not be happy. So she tried a bit more, and good for her. Fortunately for her, unfortunately for Vishwamitra, Vishwamitra got diverted. Vishwamitra said, wow, you're beautiful, you're dancing, let me spend some time with you. And that was the end of Vishwamitra's penance, austerity, the hard work he was doing. Of course, he came back and he completed his austerity, his penance at some point later, and he became what he wanted to be, which was Brahma Gyani. Like the person who is top of the Gyani, he had all those powers, and he made friendship with Vashisht as well later on, because somebody who is liberated will not have any enemy. So while he was a king, he was still in meditation, he was still progressing, he always considered Vashisht as his enemy. But once he was liberated, once he had that jnana, knowledge where he could see Krishna in everyone, he could not fight with Vashisht anymore. Right? And Vashisht didn't want to fight with him anyways. But Vashisht defended himself because Vashisht had a cow, Kamdhenu cow, which Vishwamitra said, I want to take. And that's the only reason that Vashisht had to fight to save the cow. So this is a story on the left. So the point we are trying to make here is that we should not try to do something which is so hard, almost impossible in this Kali Yuga, that you leave everything and go away. What we could do, we could regulate things, right? And we should not pretend to be someone we are not. One of the advice always being given to the kids, don't pretend to be someone you are not. Always be honest. It's always good to be honest, right? But on the right, different devotees, they are doing different things, but they're thinking about Krishna. And that's what we call Krishna consciousness. So this Mataji is cooking for Krishna, thinking, oh, this food I'm cooking is going to go to Krishna. And then devotees of Krishna will eat it. This devotee, this Prabhuji is cleaning, saying, oh, Krishna's devotees will come in the temple. And these devotees, they are so grateful to the prasad, which of course Mataji cooked, and then saying thanks to Krishna, Krishna, you have given this food. So this is what we call gratitude, right? And this devotee is washing up. So even something as mundane, as simple as this, we can do, and we can still think about Krishna. We can still thanks to Krishna. And of course, we have parents as well with us. So we can always thanks to parents for everything they have done for us. So the gratitude is all around us, right? And then what happens? Krishna says the real renunciation is not this, that you leave everything and start doing meditation, which actually Arjun wanted to. Arjun said to Krishna, Krishna, I'm going to go and I'm going to leave. But what Krishna said? Krishna said, no, renunciation for you is that do the hard work and don't expect the result. For example, we are students, we should work hard, but we should not expect a lot in return. Not a lot in return means, let's say we will work hard, we will play football, for example, if we love football, or we will play chess, because I know Adi loves chess, Rohan loves chess, Aryan loves chess. When you play chess, of course, you will try to win. But even if you will not win, we should never get depressed. Oh, I didn't win. No, because the only thing which is in our control, that we play best. And if we got defeated, let's learn, and then again next time play best and keep doing our best. But the results are not in our hands. Why? Because we don't know who the other person is. The other person might have worked harder than us, right? And the results will never be. For example, these days, this was a weekend, a long weekend. We could go out, but the rain started happening. And then you will say, oh, Krishna, I organized a barbecue, or I wanted to go to beach, or I wanted to go on a long drive. I wanted to go on holiday. The rain happened. Rain is not in our hands. We can arrange everything we want. Yeah. So not leaving. So this is cross, not leaving everything. Real renunciation is when renunciation means leaving things, right? So real renunciation, what Krishna said, that do everything for Vishnu, do everything for Krishna, right? This is the way we will do things for Krishna. we will not get the bondage. Bondage is when we do things for us, ourselves, we say, oh, I have done it. But when we have gratitude towards Krishna, oh Krishna, thank you so much. You have given so many nice skills. Like Adi is great in chess, and Adi will say, thank you, Krishna, you have given me this skill. Right? Adi is so good in technology. See, very quickly he take the screenshot and put back there in the Zoom background, which is great. Right? Such a nice picture of Krishna as well here. So we should always and always think. We should never try to take credit. We should always try to give credit to our parents, to Krishna. They have all helped us. And then when Arjun, he started fighting, he had the gratitude for everyone, and he had the sense of responsibility that I'm not fighting now to win the kingdom so I can enjoy myself, but I'm fighting because I'm a Kshatriya, I'm a king. It's my responsibility to give the protection to those people who are so miserable under the kingship of Duryodhan, who was a baddie. So I'm a goodie, I'm a follower of Krishna, and I should fight to release all those people. And that's your karma. Right? And that's what liberates us. So we should always engage ourselves in Krishna's service. So now this is a great, you might learn, well, depends on, well, a few of those things definitely you will learn in the science in schools. Some of you might have already learned, but this is the way we say. So somebody will say, well, I don't agree. I don't agree that we are dependent on Krishna. I don't agree that we should say thank you to Krishna. For what? Well, my father worked hard. He went to the office, or these days working from home, but he worked hard to get all the money, and my mother cooked it. It could be other way around as well, actually. But maybe one of the family member cooked it, one of the family member earned money, and then my brother or my sister gave it to me and I'm eating it. It's I can't see where Krishna comes into the picture, right? Somebody might be thinking. But let's see how food goes along. So we say the food we eat, and of course there are many examples, but food is one of those examples, right? Food is one of those examples. So somebody will say, oh, see, I eat food. Yes, that's right. But how do we get food? Or food, we get it from money. But do you know that money can only buy things? But what's the source of it? Food grains. So there are not many fruit. I was in Middle East, in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, in Muscat. And those places, it's all desert. Not a lot of rain happens. So what happened? They don't have a lot of food. They import everything. Import means they bring it from outside. And if you think about it, in UK, because the weather is not supportive all the time, we don't get a lot of food here. We have to bring it outside. We bring it from Brazil. We bring it from Spain, which means we might not be eating fresh food. If you go to India, you might be eating fresher food, because in India, vegetation is so nice. They pluck it. So we had some parents of our friends yesterday at our place. They said that they take it so fresh that in the morning, farmer plucks it, and in the afternoon, he delivers the food at home in India. Imagine that. And what happens at our end? From Spain, food will come here. From Brazil, food will come here. And of course, there are many other places. But which means that food is not that fresh. Yeah, it might be sweet, but it might not be as fresh. But why do we have to bring it from outside? Why can't we bring it here? Because of rain. Now, less rain or more rain, it's not in our control anyways. But in Middle East, we don't get a lot of food because it's very less rain, hardly any. And here in UK, we don't get a lot of food. Food grains have to come from outside, food items, because it rains a lot. It's cold. We need some sunlight. We don't get it. But how rain happens? Well, in the olden days, there was a belief that we used to do yajna. So a lot of kings, they used to do the yajna for Indra, for the god, demigods, and they used to give rain, right? So we know the story of Govardhan Hill in Vrindavan. So Aryan is reminding Govardhan Hill in Vrindavan, where everyone, all the villagers, they used to pray, they used to do yajna, and then demigods, they used to be happy, they used to give the rains. But then Krishna said, well, why to Indra? Because Indra was, he had a big false ego by then. He thought, oh, he's the proprietor, he's the owner. He had forgotten that all his powers coming from someone else. So Krishna said, okay, let's humble him. Let's remind him that he is not the owner. He's just doing his duty. So he said to his villagers in Vrindavan, that let's not do it for Krishna. Let's not do it for Indra. Let's do it, let's give it to, we get our food because we are villagers. We get our food, our milk from cows. And cows, they go on the mountain, Giraj. Giraj was the name of the mountain. Govardhan Hill is still there, and they all go on the Govardhan Hill. So we should pray to Govardhan Hill, and we should offer everything to Govardhan Hill. And of course, Indra got, so they didn't do it. They didn't do it, yajna, fire yajna for Indra. They did it for the Govardhan Hill. And Indra got so angry. And he said, I'm going to give you rain, but I will give you a lot of rain, right? A lot of rain. The flood happened. And then Krishna picked Govardhan Hill on a small pinky finger, little finger, and all the villagers, they went inside. And then that Govardhan village is still there in Giraji, near Vrindavan. So those sacrifices, they don't happen because these days, so not a lot of rains happens, and a lot of areas, even in India, they suffer from rains. But yajna, it says, not only the fire yajna, the prescribed duties are also there. So the politicians are kind of Kshatriyas. So the politicians who are the leader, prime minister, president, and many more, they are supposed to do their duties. But a lot of them, they are corrupt these days. Not all, some of them. And because they are not doing their duties, so that's a kind of yajna. And if that's not happening, demigods, they are not helping us back. And what kind of duties we should do? We should do what it says in Vedas, it says, prescribed in the Vedas. And where the Vedas come from? Vedas come from the Lord. Who gave the Vedas? To Vedvyas. Vedvyas was the writer. But Brahmaji had the Vedas. And who gave the Vedas to Brahmaji? Vishnu. And who is Vishnu? He's one of the expansion of Lord Krishna. So if you think about, we got the Vedas, everything is written in Vedas, we get all the knowledge there. If we do all the prescribed duties from there, and that's the yajna we need to do. We can do fire yajna as well, but doing our prescribed duty is the main yajna we have. And then we get not only rain, many other natural disasters which happens. They will be in control, and they used to be in control. But these days, we are talking about sustainable world. We say we need to be more economical. But as per the Vedic culture, the nature has always been called Mother Nature and Mother Earth. And we have always taken care of. And that's why Mother Earth has taken good care of us. And we get a lot of food. And because of that, we can understand not only that the father earns, not only that mother earns, not only the father, mother, they cook. We need to understand that food grains come from the farmers, and farmers are dependent on rain and many other things. But rain is very evident, and rain comes from the nature. And who controls the nature? As per the Vedas, the Lord controls the nature. Lord gives the power to Indra to do that, right? So this is what it is. Now it says the purpose of the human life is to please the Lord. Now Lord doesn't need our activity. Lord doesn't want. Lord doesn't say, oh, you do please me, do everything to please me. No. But what happens when we do things, even in a family, we can see. If you haven't felt it yet, try to help someone in the family. Why do people do so much volunteer work? Because when we do things for others without expecting anything in return, it helps us. It purifies our consciousness. We become a lot more happy. So the gratitude comes in. And if we do it for the Lord, because everything has been given by Lord. The parents, Lord has given us our parents. And the parents, they give us everything. So directly or indirectly, we are always in debt of everything we have to the Lord. And then, but how Lord gets happy? If we want to do it, how we want to say thank you to the Lord. It says that we need to do unalloyed. Unalloyed means something is mixed. Unalloyed means nothing is mixed. Undeviated, like we are not thinking of anything else. And we are doing the devotional service. And we can consider that as a volunteer service. When we share the name of the Lord with others, that's a kind of devotional service. When we cook for the devotees, that's when in the previous example, somebody was cleaning the road, cleaning the temple because other devotees will come. That makes Krishna happy. So it's not that we need to do something for Krishna, but we need to do things for others. And we all have experience that, yes, it does help us. Right? So the whole week we have, next Sunday, we will have the continuation of chapter 3. Think about it. And then we will discuss if anyone has done any volunteer work and did that make you happy, right? And then we said yajna. Now, what is the best yajna in this Kali Yuga? Kali is the Yuga. So we have Satyug, we have Dwapar, we have Treta, and then we have Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is the time of hypocrisy and quarrel. Everybody fight. So in this, chanting the holy name, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the Sankirtan Yajna when we take the name of the Lord, because when we take the name of the Lord, and hopefully we are not it's unalloyed, we are not expecting anything in return. Oh Krishna, give me a better job, give me a bigger house, give me better clothes. No, it's unalloyed and undeviated. While we are chanting, we are not thinking about the best TV serial or the movie or the game or anything else. No, it's unalloyed and undeviated, taking the name of the Lord. And this is the best mantra as per the given in the Puranas. So there are a couple of Puranas where it's been mentioned that Hare Krishna is a Maha Mantra. So there are many mantras, but Hare Krishna is a Maha Mantra. And that's why taking the name of the Lord is very purifying. So that's where we will end today. And we will do a very quick recap, and then we'll move forward to the next segment, that how devotees offer everything to Krishna. And in your family, if you haven't already started doing it, whenever you cook, the very easy thing is to offer to Krishna first. And if you have a tulsi, put a tulsi there and offer to Krishna, and then take that as prasad, right? And we will discuss this more next Sunday. So thank you so much for your association. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Adi, Shan, Shivani, Aryan, and those who might be watching later. Thank you so much. And if you have any question, we'll look forward to discuss it next week. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki